Welcome back, everybody, to Zlatan's Fight Picks. Today we're gonna recap Gaethje versus what's his name? Poirier, or is it Perrier versus Gaethje? It was last Saturday, and it was a great fight. It was a great card. Everybody had a great time, and where I was watching the fight, you know, thank you very much for everybody who hung out with me. I got 10 new subscribers from friends and new friends that I met at the bar that I was watching the fights at. So thank you very much. Shout out to you guys. We gained 10% subscribers that night. But we did pretty good that night. And, people saw that the picks were bang on and we came close to winning a huge parlay, but didn't happen. So nevertheless, let's continue and talk about this. Well, we might as well go backwards because we hit so many right. I mean, we hit all of them right except for two. So let's start off with the biggest disappointments, I guess, because those are the big parlay busters. I mean, there was bets, all the bets won except for like the two, and they would affect the parlay on the bottom end depending on how far down the path you took the parlay. You could have taken it all the way from Bonfim down to Ferguson, and that would be 12 fights. Well, minus the one fight that canceled. So we're talking 11 fight parlay right to Ferguson, who we picked. Well, I picked for plus 300 just because I couldn't pick Bobby Brown. Bobby Brown. Queen Brown was his name. He changed his name to King or Queen Brown. Nevertheless, he was the lowest confidence pick. The real disappointment was Salvador because I did have a parlay that continued the whole way, and I actually had a parlay that continued just before Ferguson because he was such a long shot. I actually ended one here, so I had a couple, and the real disappointment was actually Salvador. Sticking with our first subject matter, Ferguson was a long shot. Yes, we were hoping that he would show a little more than he showed the fight previous when he fought Diaz. He did show a little more, but he's pretty much washed up. And, there was a point in that first round where he hurt Bobby Green, Queen Green. He hurt him. And for a brief moment there, it looked like this was possible. Like he started going after Green. He had just finished hurting him, and he was teeing off on him, and Green lifts up his fingers and pokes him right in the eye. I mean, come on, you know what I mean? And right after that, I mean, it took like a few minutes break. He was trying to see. It was ridiculous, I mean, did he do it on purpose? Or did he do it by accident? Well, he did it to save his life. Like whether he did it on purpose or not, he definitely did it to save his life because he had gotten hurt, and there was a brief moment there. If things continued, that Ferguson could have maybe got him out of there for a brief moment, and then after the eye poke, Green got his senses back, and then he kind of, the fight was still close. I think, well, in the end, Ferguson won that round anyway, even though Green started, coming on a little stronger in the second part of that round. After he got hurt, he was hurt. I would give him that round to Ferguson. The second round went to Queen Green, and the third round, there was a stoppage 8 seconds before the fight was stopped, just because Ferguson couldn't hold on and he fell asleep. Realistically, he would have lost that round too. He would have basically lost 2 rounds 2-1. So he did have a chance, and with a plus 300, how can you not take that chance, especially because he was at the end of our parlay or picks. He was the least confident. So nevertheless, he's pretty much done. I don't know if he got cut from the UFC or not, but I feel bad for the guy because I don't, I'm hoping that he has something else to fall back on, because sometimes he just seems a little wacky, and wouldn't wish anything bad upon Ferguson. I was a big fan of his, and I thought he was a great fighter, and I hope he finds something new to pursue and give himself some purpose. Nevertheless, that was a mistake. Moving on, we'll just talk about Salvador real quick. Salvador, I've never seen anyone be so self-destructive. Why would you showboat in such a close fight? I mean, he does the same showboating thing. He wants to emulate Anderson Silva. He wants to be that guy, but he's got to start winning. And the thing is this fight was his fight. He had taken the first round. It was clear. He was dead even in the second round. There was only a brief moment that Vergara in both the second and the third round where they gave Vergara the rounds. If he had put 10% more punches in the second round, which is basically 2 to 5 more punches, if he had put 10% more punches in the third round, 2 to 5 more punches, in either one of those rounds, he would have gotten that round. That's how close that fight was. So he could have won at least one of those rounds by throwing another 5 punches. And that's the disappointing part. And in the end, you saw him be so disappointed that he didn't win the fight. And they're like, where was this guy who's so disappointed, just like 15 minutes ago, to maybe motivate himself to throw a couple more punches? He wasn't hurt. He wasn't getting touched up by Vergara. He wasn't tired. I don't understand it. He just had to throw more punches. He was instigating most of the interactions with Vergara. But, Vergara, to his credit, is pretty consistent. But like I said, Salvador was instigating the fight. It was his turn, basically, to throw the punches. He needed to throw the punches. Anyways, it was disappointing. That busted my 10-fight parlay right here. Nevertheless. And actually, I think there's other people that have taken some of the advice and had picked Salvador as well. Unfortunately, he disappointed everybody. I mean, there wasn't a lot of disappointment in this card because we actually got all of them right. But yeah, didn't like that one. Maverick, of course, she won. She dominated the fight. She's low. I mean, she was not necessarily a low-end pick as confidence, but I always have the women on the bottom end just because they're always so even, so unpredictable. I just don't like them ruining my high confidence plays on the upper half of the picks. But nevertheless, she dominated that fight as we expected and as it should have happened. So she definitely redeemed herself. And that's good because, she's still a highly touted prospect and she did well. Yeah, so let's move on. But normally we start from this end, but I started backwards because we only got these two wrong. Bonfim, most confident pick. And people ask me, why are you so confident in Bonfim? Well, if you watch the fight, there you go. This guy is unbelievable on the ground. He's just a beast. He's very powerful, and he's a contender. This guy, he's got some talent. He's great on the ground. He's strong on the feet. He could take a punch. He's very young. He's very motivated. I mean, he manhandled what's his face? Oh, see, this is where I'm forgetting everyone's fight. Who did he manhandle? Where is he? Come on. Giles. Yeah, he just manhandled him. He just threw him on the ground. I mean, it didn't even take very long. Yeah, it was totally manhandled, this guy. Matthews, he dominated the fight. I mean, there was that first round where was that guy? What's his name? The new kid just got thrown up. Flowers. Flowers. Came on strong. I like that kid Flowers, the Darius Flowers. I mean, the guy's a beast. He attacked. He threw great punches. He tried to take him down. He just let it all out. This guy's entertaining. I mean, I'd love to watch this guy fight again. He doesn't even have to go very far. He's just a guy you want to watch fight. Nevertheless, high confidence on Matthews. Matthews eventually wore him down. Way more experience. His chin held up, and that's what my question mark is. He's a little chinny sometimes, right? Nevertheless, Matthews won that fight fairly handily. Second most confident pick. Kopylov, third most confident pick. Head kick knockout, second round. Now you know why he's the second most confident pick. This guy's talented. He's a great kickboxer, and he fought a guy who's definitely in his wheelhouse. It wasn't a ground guy. It was going to be a stand-up, and this guy's really good. And it's a shame that he actually, I heard that he did not get a bonus. I think the bonuses were given to Green and Gaethje, but I mean, when I heard that, I'm there like, why would you give it to the guys who make the most money on this card? Green's got a great contract. He makes lots of money. Gaethje's got a great contract. Make lots of money. This guy has a fantastic head kick knockout, and you don't give him the bonus, and he's probably only making 20, 30 grand for the fight. And he had to fly here from Russia. Anyways, that's, the rich get richer. It's a shame. I think he should have gotten the bonus. Holland, well, you know what? He didn't go full retard, but he dominated the fight. He was good. He's as good as we think he is. And Thompson, I'm sorry, it wasn't Thompson that he fought. What was that guy? Chiesa. I mean, he didn't really look like he was ever in the fight. He didn't look motivated. He looks like he's he's going to keep fighting. I think he's got to keep himself in the mix with his announcing career and everything else that he's doing. But he's definitely not going to be a contender. He can't be fighting these top guys. They're going to beat him. He's not motivated to really grind out a victory. I don't think he's at that level anymore mentally. And Holland, he's physically at that level. Mentally, we still don't know where he's at. And he could have just stayed and fought Chiesa on the feet, but he just took it to the ground because he wanted to show that he could beat Chiesa on the ground, and he did. But those are always risks that you're taking, right? Nevertheless, then I heard he made a crazy announcement. He's going back to middleweight. Yeah, just when you thought he didn't go full retard. I mean, you're making headway at welterweight, and now you want to move back to middleweight, where you were basically not making headway because you were just too small for the division. And even though you're talented, you're getting manhandled by other guys. Maybe he likes that. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, he shouldn't go to the next division. And to me, it's just a weight cut issue. And going back to, it's too much work to cut all that weight. I mean, when you smoke a lot of weed, you get hungry. And, you got to eat, right? So he wants to put on another 15 pounds. And enjoy his life, I guess. Well, hey, everyone makes choices. He's gonna be making. I don't think he wants to be like the champ. He just wants to make paychecks and enjoy his life, and to each his own. Nevertheless, moving on. Lewis. The guy ran out, threw a flying knee, and got the guy on the ground and beat the crap out of him. And this is what I was saying: is why are we discounting Lewis? He's still the Black Beast. He's obviously motivated. I think that wasn't that his last fight on his contract. I can't remember. But the guy he fought, I really liked that guy, and I made a lot of money, and I bet on this guy. But the fact is that what's his name? De Lima is a good fighter, but he is not a top 10, or not, maybe he is a top 10, but he's not like a top 5 fighter. And Lewis, all he's been doing is fighting top 5 fighters. So whenever people say, well, he lost, he did, but look who he lost to. And this is the difference between the top 5 and the top 10, is those subtle differences can make a huge difference. And he dominated that fight, as expected. He was our first underdog. Alex Pereira. Well, I think he did more damage. The fight could have gone either way. It was a split decision. But, as I said in the video, if it's going to go down to a split decision, this guy's going to get it. Well, 2 reasons. Number one, he has a style of fight where he's going to be doing more damage. And the style of fight from Blachowicz would be more of a control grappling style. Even before the fight we knew that, and that's exactly how it played out. Nevertheless, does anybody really want to see Alex Pereira lose and not fight for the title, including the judges? So during the fight, everybody thought Pereira lost. As a matter of fact, I even said if Pereira did not get taken down in the third round, right at the end of the round, he would have definitely easily won that fight. And then he got taken down, and I said, you know what? He probably lost his fight. And most of the people around me agreed. But I said, but he's not going to lose this fight. And he didn't. So there you go. Michelle Pereira couldn't make weight. Wonderboy Thompson, well, he just backed out. I mean, obviously, you know, he's obviously, this is the bigger guy, and then he comes in way heavier, and yeah, you know, I mean, I wish I would have seen the fight, but you know, it's his fault for not making weight. You know, it's nice for guys to take fights, even though the other guy didn't make weight, but at some point, you know, you don't have to. So I don't blame him. Whoa, look at this guy. Medic plus 175. Well, Lewis is plus 180 actually. So this guy was almost the same. You know, Euros Medic, I was saying that he is faster. This guy is dangerous. Semmelsberger is more durable. He can take punishment, and he takes the punishment and he throws back a really hard right, and he can knock you out. And sure enough, he hurt Medic, and Medic, to his credit, recovered. You know, and he's a pretty tough guy. He looks good at the 170. And then he put it on Semmelsberger, and he had a dramatic spinning back fist knockdown, which proceeded into the, you know, the beatdown. Medic looked good. Yeah, it was nice to see, because it was like one of the first fights, and it was nice to see the card kick off like that for me, because it's nothing worse than starting the first few fights and be wrong, because then you know your parlays are screwed, right? So, excuse me. So yeah, it was gave you something to hope for and something that you wanted to cheer for, and it was more interesting, that's for sure. Nevertheless, Medic won. Semmelsberger, you know, it's his first loss. He hasn't lost in a while. No, it's the first loss, like a TKO loss kind of loss. He has lost decisions before. Yeah, and he was at the wrong end of the TKO or knockdown this time. Nevertheless, Medic, you know, he has a good call. I'm really happy with that one. Next one, Gaethje. Yeah, I honestly, I was so busy talking, I didn't even see the head kick knockout. And then somebody told me Gaethje won, and I thought, oh, that was quick, because I was expecting Gaethje to win again, another underdog, and I think Gaethje was a little smarter, a little more calculative. I think the first round was really close. I think Poirier still won the first round, but you know, Gaethje didn't take that much damage, not like he usually does. So he's a little smarter, and he dished it out, and he's very smart, and then, you know, and he's just a little bigger, a little more powerful, and yeah, and a little more technical, obviously. So, you know, head kick knockout, was it through a right hand, kind of a fake right hand, and had the right foot come up right after it. It was a great knockout. I mean, you run this back 10 times, and each of them are going to win the fight 5 times. That's how close they are. So, but nevertheless, I expected Gaethje to pull this off. I thought it was a little too strong, maybe a little more technical than he was in his first fight, and he pulled it off. This guy's, again, you know, gotta take his head out of his, you know what, because I don't know what's wrong with this guy. He could do better. Nevertheless, he busted a huge parlay. I'm very disappointed. Nevertheless, it was a good outing. We only had the least confident, the ones down here that didn't hit. You know, this was close. He had it. This was a little further, but he did have it for a brief moment before he got eye poked. And who knows what would have happened after that. He could have still lost, but nevertheless, you know, who knows. So, this fight, next fight, we're going to have the picks tomorrow. I think I'm almost done that video. Well, I'm done the picks. I haven't done the video. Tomorrow I'll do the video. But thank you very much for joining me. Thanks everyone for joining me at the pub to watch the fights. Thank you to all my new subscribers, all my friends and new friends that I met at the pub watching the fights with me. Appreciate it. Thank you very much everyone online. Thank you everyone for commenting. You know, I really enjoy the comments. Feel free to comment. Love talking to you guys. This is what I like to do. This is my interest. This is my wheelhouse. So feel free to ask me any questions. I'll do the best to answer them. Hopefully I answer them correctly. And yeah, so next time, hopefully we nail this. And we're so close. I mean, I want to nail all of it. You know, 2 wrong is too many. I want to get all of them. I want to have 0 wrong next time. So thank you very much. Enjoy your day, and we will talk to you tomorrow with the next cast. Thank you.